Greetings again, everybody, and I'm standing in a little park in Hokkaido, not far from my office, which is over that direction. And I'm standing in front of a statue of Mutobi Inenzo, who was a famous Japanese diplomat, scholar, writer, and he lived at the end of the 1800s and into the 1900s. I think he died 1930 in Canada, actually, and he was quite a visionary, a man who got his PhD in Germany, spoke fluent German, also spoke fluent English, was here at Hokkaido when it was an agricultural college, had spent time in Philadelphia, married an American woman, and had become a Quaker, which is amazing. And he was very high up in the League of Nations. It was the highest ranking Japanese in the League of Nations until they pulled out. So this park is a park devoted to him. And I just had a lovely, lovely chat with Elizabeth Tasker. I'll post some video with her very soon, as she's interviewed me for a piece, a writing piece. I don't exactly know where we're going to do that yet, certainly for her blog, but it might lead to something else, and hopefully she'll be interviewing myself and Tachibana Sensei together to talk about our joint space missions. So it's really cool, isn't it? Cultural exchanges and scientific exchanges and understanding how better to communicate in every aspect of communicating. So this park is coming alive. I've been walking through it for the last month, basically now. I've been here almost a month. And you can hear sheep in the background because it's still an agricultural school here. And some birds making noise, pretty, yay, spring, spring. No crows right now, which is nice. They can be really annoying, the crows. So yes, so this is my daily life so far here in Hokkaido. And it's so beautiful. I am going to be working on, was working on today, and going to continue to work on mapping the part of the publication plan that the PI of the mission, Dante Loretta, has put forward for comment and discussion. I'm going to be mapping that publication list, at least part of it, the analytical part with respect to sample analysis, to our nominal plan for sample analysis, and trying to figure out how the pieces fit and work through, hopefully, what will be a new way of thinking about publishing from a space mission that Dante is working on very diligently. So it's a lot of fun, actually. It's also a lot of fun to see the potential papers that will come out of all of our efforts. Many people don't understand that in science, we typically do not publish books. We may publish a book as a textbook, or maybe some kind of philosophical discussion as a book, but generally speaking, we publish papers. Papers are extremely important because they're progress reports of the science at that moment. Testing hypotheses means that you produce data with the idea of testing the hypothesis to falsify it, and that requires continued testing. So to write a book about what you've been testing is not necessarily fruitful. It takes a long time to get a book published. It can be expensive, and the return might not be enough for a publisher. So publishing papers is what scientists do, and in one study we may publish one paper, we may publish 6 papers, and depending on the impact of those papers, it can help drive continued testing of hypotheses and drive this field of science. So papers are very, very important, and quite often people don't understand why scientists publish papers and what are the importance. They'd rather see a book. But you have to understand that scientific paper publications are incredibly important to the field. And dollar for dollar, they can also be an extremely good deal for an agency that's supplying money for us to research and publish. Scientists will read papers, and the most important thing, well, one of the most important things rather, you can do as a graduate student is learn how to read papers. And here at Hokkaido, in the course I've been teaching with Tachibana Sensei, I have been teaching a method we use back at the City University in Earth and Environmental Sciences of reviewing a paper or papers each week, but summarizing one paper in one page, what are the key critical scientific elements of that paper, and your evaluation of that as a graduate student. And graduate students learning how to read papers and, of course, write about them is incredibly critical. If you're given 20 papers in a week to read, you probably cannot read every word in a paper. So you have to learn what's important about reading papers. And the most important thing about reading a paper, most important things about reading a paper are the title, the abstract, the graphs, and tables. The figures, the graphs, the figures are incredibly important. Concentrate on reading figures. If you can't understand the words, it doesn't matter. If it's written in Japanese, if I see a graph or figure of chemical composition with numbers, it's international language mathematics. I don't need to know exactly what the translation is of the title or the figure caption in Japanese to know what this graph might be about. So that's very important. Anyway, I hope to continue to make more and more videos. I'm really motivated now for many reasons, and I'm going to be updating my Google Plus page to continue to push forth different issues in science. It's a really great venue for expressing the passion of science and for being a passionate person in general. So stay tuned, and we'll have more videos coming up, and I'm going to go to Kyudo very soon and practice the way of the bow for a little while. And I need lots of practice in the katas. I'm really... Ooh, okay. All right, everybody. See you soon. Thanks for tuning in to Harold C. Connolly Jr.'s video blog, Professor of Earth and Planetary Science at City University, currently Hokkaido University, also at the American Museum of Natural History, which everybody must know by now because of Neil Tyson's show, Cosmos, and now his radio show turned into a TV show, Star Talk. The first episode was outstanding. And of course, I'm mission sample scientist for the OSIRIS-REx mission. NASA's mission to go to an asteroid, collect a sample, and bring it back